or not.
Performance.
Because, he's in both orchestra and choir, and so
Awesome.
he they're doing the music department does like sort of a big fundraiser
Oh, wow.
performance. A lot of the students do different varieties of different things, and then the
At
orchestra.
high school,
performs.
college?
Yep, it's high school. Dow High.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Awesome.
that will be Saturday at the Midland Center for the Arts. So it's
Oh,
like a big deal to get to go be
yeah.
on the big stage.
Sure,
and
yeah.
things. So we're kind of like, oh, is
Yeah.
it going to get snowed out?
Yeah,
Hope
gosh, I
not.
hope not. Yeah. I have a grandson who's a freshman at University of Michigan who made the men's glee club there. And they've been performing and doing great things. This spring they go to Argentina, Brazil, and they get to perform on Machu Picchu. Can you believe that? They're
I'm going to go join them.
yeah. Well, he's
I can't sing, but
well,
it sounds fun.
he's also on the cheer team, so he's been enjoying all this at University of Michigan for they won the national football championship last night. So he came from Bay City Central, and so he was involved in a lot of the plays and choir and musicals and things like that. And so when he went to U of M, he tried out for the Glee Club and he made it, and then they asked him to come to the cheerleading, and so he's involved with that. So as a freshman, he's got a lot of stuff going. So anyway, well, what grade is your son at Dow?
He's a sophomore.
Okay, that's cool that he's doing that, and I hope that he doesn't get snowed out. That
I
would be,
know.
yeah.
So, I mean, it won't be the last opportunity, but still, they've been practicing, and it should be fun.
I'm a basketball coach.
Hey, I know you. How you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. That's always cool at the Center for the Arts too. What a great experience in front of all those people, and just get that.
I love that they get to partner with us.
Yeah, yeah,
It just gives the kids such a great opportunity to
yeah, yeah.
learn in the theater like that.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, he'll be a little bit, if everything goes according to plan, he'll perform with his orchestra. He's in a small men's singing group, and then his full choir. So he'll have three different.
Nice. He must be very talented. I know you're proud.
I am.
Yeah.
Well, I can start for just 3 minutes to noon. I'll start doing these announcements
Okay.
so I don't cut into your time too much. And we'll. Hello, welcome. Happy New Year. Yeah, our first Lunch and Learn of 2024, and we're going to kick it off with a bang. Before we get to that, I'm Jennifer Vanette. I'm your outreach coordinator here at the Castle Museum, and it's great to see you all here. And it's great to have people joining us on live stream. Some people stayed cozy today, I guess. So I really appreciate you all coming out in this weather. The restrooms are located to the back, so if you at any point need that, if you just go out that back door, there's one just to your right. And then, of course, there are refreshments on the back table. Feel free to help yourself at any point that you need those. I want to let you know a few programs that are coming up shortly. So on Monday, January 15th, that's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we're going to host our first annual Teach-In. We're using the King Center's theme. It starts with me, and we're going to have a full day of programming for all ages, starting at 11 with storytelling and crafts for our youngest ages. We think it's probably ideal for K through 5th grades. We're going to have a brief history lesson around the Montgomery bus boycott, ideal for grades 3 through 8. And then we're going to cap off the day with a keynote, which is ideal for all ages, but particular teens through adults. And we have civil rights historian Dr. Ken Jolly from SVSU, who will be delivering that keynote address that day. So I hope you're all able to come out and join us for those things, or tell your friends and have them come join us. We're going to start another new program this month. On Wednesday, January 17th, we will host our first midweek matinee. We're going to feature local or U.S.-based history documentaries, and we're going to kick it off Wednesday, January 17th with PBS's The Gilded Age. That will be one of our longer offerings. Most of the time they'll be around 60 minutes. This one's just shy of 2 hours. But it's a really great documentary produced by American Experience, and it ties into the boom that made Saginaw what we are. So it'll be a national view, but we're going to look at that era in which we become us. And then the next month we'll follow up with a local documentary about that same era. So it should be great. Midweek matinees are at 1 o'clock. And we'll provide, come on in, we're just doing some announcements. We'll do some, little treats and things. Feel free to bring more if you want to. We will not police you like the movie theaters do. You can bring what you want, okay? So I hope you join us for that. And then our next Lunch and Learn is on the 4th Tuesday of the month, so that's Tuesday, January 23rd, and we will feature author Gary Flynn, who's written a book called QP Hamburgers, A Mighty Nice History. And if you follow our blog, castlemuseum.org, every Sunday, our Castle Test Kitchen looks at a historical recipe, gives you some of the history, but also tries out those recipes. And we had a whole, month and a half of hamburger history for a while. Doyle hamburgers, QP hamburgers. So we're kind of excited to have Gary come and round it out. We're just all about hamburger history around here. So those are what we have coming up. Now, sorry, I forgot. Catherine's like, stop it with your microphone. Okay. My bad. Okay, so I'm excited to welcome David Slaggert to speak with us today. I was told I should ask, but I'm a little bit afraid to ask which side people are on. Sure ask. Okay. Who's Lumberjacks? Who's Trojans? Okay. All right. So I'm excited to learn more about it myself. Dave was born and raised here in Saginaw and educated here, Saginaw Public Schools and Saginaw Catholic Schools. He's a graduate of Central Michigan University. He has his bachelor's in education with a health and physical education recreation and a minor in history, so he's perfect for the topic. He also holds 2 master's degrees, physical education and counseling. He had a 33-year career teaching in the Saginaw Public Schools, along with 25 years of coaching, and that includes 10 years of basketball at Arthur Hill. He's married 51 years to Linda, who's also an educator and counselor, and 2 daughters who are also educators, so it's running in the family here. I love that. I love that. And an author. Dave has written, I forgot to double check. Do you just say 42 and 8 son?
No, I say fortunate son.
Oh, I get it now. Okay. I needed to work on that out loud. So it's like a play on, the numbers and letters. Okay, so Fortunate Son, which is a tribute book to his parents and autobiographical. And then, of course, we're all here to learn more about Remember the Trojans and the Lumberjacks, which he'll tell you more about today. So join me in welcoming Dave.
Thank you, Jennifer. Now, I'm used to being a school teacher 33 years, so if anybody has to go to the bathroom, just raise your hand. I've got a hall pass here. Just don't go to your locker, right? Get right back to class. No, I just wanted to tell you, I'm a Saginaw kid, and I'm a kid at heart, and I have a lot of memories about being a kid in Saginaw. I grew up on the east side, over on Glenwood Street, right around Weber School, right around the corner, and my family, big Saginaw High fans. My father was a 1934 graduate from Saginaw High. My sister was a 1959 graduate of Saginaw High, and there were, that was black and gold, Saginaw High, Trojans all the way. And my dad was a fanatic for the sports. And so he took little Davy Slaggert from probably age 3 all the way up to all the games, all the baseball and the track and the football and especially the basketball. And when we went to the games, some of my earliest memories of Saginaw High basketball was a player by the name of Webster Kirksey. Webster Kirksey in 1951 was eventually named Mr. Basketball. Mr. Basketball is the title given to one high school basketball player per year in the state of Michigan. So he won that award in 1951 as a great player. And I just remember the buzz around the city whenever Webster Kirksey, took the court. And I see some people nodding their heads back there. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, so we used to go to the games. I'm just a little kid. I'm paying attention, kind of paying attention. I'm, being silly and stuff like that, but it's going in there. So another great player at that time, a little longer, a little further down the road, was a player by the name of Gary Lee over at Arthur Hill. And some of you we've talked about already. Gary Lee and his cohort Jim Canary were fantastic basketball players at Arthur Hill a couple of years later. And those two led their team to 2 straight regional championships and quarterfinal games and all-state things and all of that. And Gary went on to Central Michigan University, where I went to school, and was the leading scorer 3 years in a row there and went on to play semi-professional. Getting back to Webster Kirksey, I forgot to mention, he went to Eastern Michigan and had a stint with the Harlem Globetrotters. That's how good he was. So that's a little bit of my earliest history. Now let's switch gears, go to football. My dad took me to all the games, so we went to the football games. Is anybody old enough to remember where Saginaw High and Arthur Hill used to play their football games and what day they used to play their football games back in the day, 40s and 50s? Let me get right here. Alumni Field, and it was on Thanksgiving. The last game of the year for Saginaw High and Arthur Hill, they would do the annual turkey game, football game at Alumni Field, and it was a big deal. And I've got a really cool memory, I got to tell you. Okay, 1957, I'm 9 years old. That dates me. So I'm 9 years old in 57. My dad and I are sitting right in the front row, right at the Arthur Hill Saginaw High Turkey Day Thanksgiving game, and the game stops. Referee stopped the game. And so they go on the on the loudspeaker. The chain links broke in the down markers. So they can't do that. My dad says, Davey, you go under the bleachers, go find some wire. So I'm going under the bleachers as a 9-year-old, sifting through popcorn boxes and everything else that's under the bleachers. Some stuff you don't want to know. But anyway, I'm looking around. I find a piece of wire. So I run it out to my dad. My dad runs it to the referee. They wire up the chain links that were broken. The game goes on, and my dad turned to me and says, son, you saved the game. You talk about a father-son moment, right? That you never forget. That sometimes gets me still even today. Take it a little further down my journey. A couple of years later, I'm 11 years old. I'm in the 6th grade. I'm playing on a Boytown basketball team. One of my teammates is Mike Lading, whose father is Larry Lading, the coach of Saginaw High. One of my other teammates is Greg Gray, the son of Ken Gray, the JV coach at Saginaw High, later to be a varsity coach at Saginaw High. And so we were known as the Trojans, right? That was our team. We were champions in the league, and that was a great memory. And my dad and all of the dads and all of these young players, we were all big Saginaw High fans and followed all the way through. And so fast forward a little bit. Now I'm in college. I'm at Central Michigan University. I'm in education. And it's time for me to pick a place, or at least apply to a place, to be a student teacher. And of course I take Saginaw High. And I'm lucky enough to be selected, and so I become a student teacher at Saginaw High School. I'm working with Ori Lemansky, their football coach, and Joe Etienne in the physical education department. But First day, I run over to Coach Ken Gray, the head varsity coach, and Coach Louis Conomo, his JV coach, and say, can I volunteer to be a student teacher, voluntary assistant coach in your basketball program? And of course they said yes, and I was thrilled to death, and I got to be, that was my start in high school basketball coaching at Saginaw High under the tutelage of Ken Gray and Louis Conomo, and I soaked it in and tried to learn everything I could from the both of them, and that was a thrill in itself. So as you can see, I've been kind of immersed through my whole life in something called the Saginaw High Arthur Hill rivalry, and what I'm going to do for you, we put together a PowerPoint, and we're going to kind of go through a few things with you, and give me a second to kind of set it up. I'm going to wind it back and start it from the top. Okay, remember the Trojans and the Lumberjacks. Remember the Trojans and Lumberjacks as a tribute to Michigan's greatest high school basketball rivalry spanning 114 years. It showcases intense matchups, talented players, outstanding coaches, and Saginaw community pride at its finest. The inspiration for my book, Community Legacy. The Saginaw High and Arthur Hill basketball rivalry is deeply rooted in the historic fabric of Saginaw, Michigan, and its one-of-a-kind, always intense, see it to believe it matchups leave a legacy of best ever rivalry in the state. Passing down history. The ultimate goal with my book is to celebrate and preserve this special rivalry, passing down its wonderful 114-year story to future generations to savor and enjoy, and to always remember the Trojans and the Lumberjacks. Plot overview. You recognizing any of these people? Who's this guy? Craig Dill, right? Craig Dill right here, and Ernie Thompson's just off the page, but this is a classic Saginaw High Arthur Hill game. Championship moments. Some of the unparalleled achievements the Trojans and Lumberjacks have accomplished are a combined 47 trips to the state quarterfinals, or the final 8. Add to that 36 of those trips made the semifinals, or final 4, and 18 to the finals with 8 outright state championships. To kind of clear that up a little bit more, the state tournament in Michigan started in 1917. So between 1917 and 2024, there's about 107 state championships. 2 of those years, they were canceled. Once in 1943 at the height of World War II, the state tournaments were canceled, and once in 2020 with COVID. And so in 105 years of sanctioned high school state tournament play, Saginaw High, or Arthur Hill, made it into the final 8 47 times. Almost half, one or the other, made it all the way down to 8 eventual state champions in that mix. But the other side of that is that Saginaw High and Arthur Hill would normally play each other in the district tournament, so they would knock each other, one or the other would be knocked out, and sometimes they were ranked number 1 and number 2 in the state and would be knocked out almost immediately. And so how many more than the 47 if they would come in from different directions, if you follow? So that's pretty amazing stat, okay? Riverbank rivalry. The rivalry extended beyond Saginaw High and Arthur Hill and their 5 feeder schools, junior highs, North, South, Central, Weber, and Arthur Eddy, to encompass a deep-rooted rivalry between the east side and the west side of the Saginaw River. The Saginaw River was the dividing line for a long time. Main characters and development, first-hand accounts. 9 living former High and Hill coaches and multiple players contributed individual chapters offering invaluable insights and colorful remembrances of the showdown. So I'm one of 9 head coaches of Saginaw High or Arthur Hill that are still living. And so each one of us have written our own individual chapters in the book. And we've written 8 other chapters about other Saginaw High coaches like Larry Lading and like Wild Bill Kelly and like so many of the other great coaches that coached in the rivalry that have passed. Charlie Coles from Saginaw High, etc. So each one of those 17 coaches is highlighted in the book and their story. Michigan State's Tom Izzo provides his take on the iconic Michigan High School rivalry, adding his unique perspective to the book as a recruiter and a fan. Michigan State's Tom Izzo came to an awful lot of Saginaw High and Arthur Hill games. He was recruiting Draymond Green. He was recruiting my Jason Richardson. He was around for Anthony Roberson. He knows all about the Saginaw High rivalry and the intensity of that. And I contacted him, and he wrote me a chapter, so that's in the book as well. So that's a pretty good score, getting that in there. Themes explored. Championship and individual awards. The book's 672 pages are filled with firsthand accounts and behind-the-scenes stories about numerous championship teams, all-state players, and Mr. Basketball Award winners. Okay? So in the chapter, I have every Saginaw High and Arthur Hill all-state basketball player listed from 1933 on, over 100. And we've had 7 Mr. Basketball Award winners, which, as I mentioned, is the #1 award a high school basketball player can achieve in a high school career. He becomes the #1 best player in the entire state. And we've had 7 of those. Okay? Photos and news stories. There are 750 captivating and priceless photos, news stories that help paint the picture of classic Saginaw High and Arthur Hill riveting hardwood battles. So not only, I'm a scrapbook nut. I mean, I'm a kid in the candy store when I get to see old pictures and priceless photos of Ernie Thompsons and the Webster Kirksies and the Craig Dills and all of these great players through the years. And so I was able to put almost 800 pictures in the book and many Saginaw news stories that really kind of feature it and really kind of show the pictures of the intensity and the magnitude of those games. Writing process and challenges. Community contribution. As a longtime resident and educator in Saginaw, I did extensive research and performed countless interviews with former coaches and players, enriching the writing process. Labor of love. The 5-year-long project was my attempt to give something back to the community and a major goal of preserving its historic legacy. I wanted to give something back. This is a nonprofit effort. It's run through the Saginaw Community Foundation, and making a profit at the end of this is our goal, and the goal is then to send scholarship funds to the new Saginaw United High School. So that's the goal. Hey, thank you. Well, this community raised me, and I'm at the point of my life. I'm looking back at history and this legacy. I want this passed down, but I also want to give something back to the community that was so good to me. Publication journey. Choosing the publisher. After extensive research, Donning Press was selected based on strong recommendations and previous successful Saginaw publications. And how many know Larry Toft or the books that he's written in Saginaw, okay? He's the person I spoke to, and he published his books, one about downtown Saginaw and one about Saginaw Township. And this company, Donning Press, does an awful lot of historical books. And I thought, perfect. And then with Larry's recommendation, went that way. And so that was kind of a cool connection. Fundraising efforts. A fundraising campaign was initiated to cover part of the publishing cost, ensuring the book is affordable for the community. And so what I did, I priced the book actually below the amount of money that the company is charging me to make. I wanted it affordable at $40 a book. It's cost me more than that. So I've been going to potential underwriters, sponsors, businesses, individuals that would like to support this effort, that would donate and be acknowledged in the book that they supported our efforts, and therefore cut the cost down so it's more affordable, and hopefully get to the point where we get to a break-even point, and then beyond that, make money towards the scholarship fund that we're talking about. So if you, obviously you can help by buying a book, but think of sponsorship if you would like to help us as well. All right, reader feedback and reviews. Impactful tribute. Reviews highlight the comprehensive coverage, captivating anecdotes, and the book's role in preserving the history for future generations. Emotional connections. Readers express joy, learning, and reliving cherished moments, emphasizing the book's value to the community. And I got a book review from someone that I really respect. Maybe some of you remember book review by Paul Newmeyer, former sports editor of the Saginaw News. How many remember Paul? Really excellent sports editor. He's down in Louisville now with another job, and so he passed down a review, and if I may read that to you. My first reaction when I started reading this was, wow, Dave put a lot of time and effort into this. My next reaction was how great this is to have all of this put together in one easy reading, photo capturing memoir of what I also think was the greatest high school basketball rivalry in the state of Michigan. My third reaction was, I wish we had this reference when I worked at the Saginaw News. There are so many great anecdotes, first-person stories, and factoids that weren't public before, and the photos. They complement the written copy so well and really tell a story of their own. This is a treasure for Saginaw basketball fans, and copies should land in places like the new high school library, the Saginaw County Sports Hall of Fame, the Hoyt Library, etc. I smiled and felt joy as I read. I learned a lot more than I knew, and many parts of this had me reliving many of those games and days all over again. So I thank Paul for that review. Lessons learned, community impact. If ever you wondered about the community of Saginaw's intense love for the game, hear this. The Dow Event Center was sold out with more than 5,000 tickets sold in 20 minutes for the Game of Legends, February 16th, the final regular season game between the High and the Hill. That's coming up. Do any of you have your tickets? Well, good luck. You might have to know somebody because it's already sold out, and there are people coming in. Jason Richardson's coming back. There's an outside chance that Draymond Green will be coming back. All of the ex-coaches, a lot of the people that are involved in this great rivalry will be coming back. There's an all-day event inside the Dow in the Red Room where there's hospitality and speeches and a banquet served, and they're making it an all-day festive event. The Game of Legends, February 16th, the last game between Saginaw High and Arthur Hill regular season, and 114-year straight rivalry, longest running in the state. Conclusion and final plans. Enduring legacy. The book aims to be a lasting reminder of the special place the rivalry holds in Saginaw history, preserving its legacy for future generations, a family heirloom treasure. These are ways that you can order a book, and I will give you a flyer if you'd like, and that's got all the directions on how to order through the Saginaw Community Foundation, or you could send in direct to them, or on the computer, or to become a sponsor. And if you know of a business that might want to help underwrite and sponsor this, we'll add them into the book. This is not the final cut. Some of you came up and took a look at the book. They're demo copies, but the final cut, any sponsors that would be donating to the cause would be acknowledged in the book. And if you know of a business or would like to, as an individual, support the cause, I would love to talk to you after the presentation, and like I said, you would be definitely acknowledged. And we have a couple of billboards coming around Saginaw. One right by Niagara and Holland, right, Gary? That's coming up very, very soon, and it is a limited edition. We are only making 1,000 copies. I think we've sold about 250 in the pre-sale already. And we have had some sponsors that have helped us as well, but we do need help, and we would appreciate any support that you could give. And now, how about some questions?
So if we want the book, we can order it now.
You can order a book now on your computer. You can go to Facebook to Remember the Trojans and Lumberjacks. Just pull it up on Facebook, and if you were on there, and there are means on there to order that flyer that you have in your hand. The middle insert is how you can do it on the computer. The written one like that, you can do it and put it in snail mail and mail the check in to Saginaw Community Foundation. I'm not touching any of the money. The money's going through Saginaw Community Foundation. And as I said, if a profit is made, all of that would go to scholarships to students at the new high school. And I love that name, don't you? Saginaw United High School. You know, I mean, obviously there are people from Saginaw High and Arthur Hill that would wish that their school would live forever, but it's come down to declining enrollment and different things that made it come down into one. But I personally, you know, it's going to be sad to not be able to go to those games, but I do love the name that they chose, Saginaw United, because I want to be united as a town and as a city and our students. So,
Other questions?
floor's open for questions. I forgot to mention my favorite high school basketball player, my idol growing up, Ernie Thompson. How many remember Ernie Thompson? Wow. Okay. So I'm 11, 12, 13. Well, as he's coming through, he is in a class by himself. His senior year, he led the Saginaw Trojans to an undefeated season. They went all the way to the state tournament. My dad took me to every single game. I'm sitting there at the state tournament, and I watch Ernie score 42 points, get 26 rebounds, and block 5 shots. Not a bad day's work, right? And I mean, what a nice individual. I had the pleasure of talking to him on the phone for about 2 hours, and he gave me about 12 pages in the book, first-hand, inside accounts on so many wonderful things. He had the highest, utmost regard for Coach Larry Lading and his teammates, and just a beautiful, beautiful person. He teaches Sunday school. He plays classical piano. He's a gardener. He teaches yoga. I mean, he's just the most unique and special person. And he's 79 years old, and he's suffering from macular degeneration, so he's almost entirely blind, and he's still doing all of that. And he's on his way coming to the game of Legends February 16th as well. So had to mention that. That's pretty special, huh? Oh, I would have loved to have brought him here today. And Craig Dill, if we get him through the door at 6'11". But no. But anyway, there's going to be a tremendous amount of media coverage of the game, of the celebrities that come into town, and I mean, it'll be on all the channels, 12, 25, and 5, and it'll be M Live and all of that. So, any other questions about any of the? I mean, I had so much fun doing this. 5-year labor of love. I put my heart and soul into it, and it's meant to me. I mean, 70 plus years of my life, I've been kind of immersed in this rivalry. And so I've had kind of front row seat through a lot of it, but just want to share it in that book. The book looks, it's a big one. And like I said, this is the prototype or the demo. Probably 25 more pages in the final cut, including sponsor names and so forth that'll be added in. Almost 800 pictures now, and I know it's big, but it's got big font because a lot of us have challenged eyes, right? Yeah. Challenged eyes. Yep. And you know what? People in our age group, and I'd say kind of I think we're sort of in there. I'm going to be 76 in February. Appreciate history, right? We appreciate history. Young people, I don't think have caught up on that yet, but let's teach them and let's share that. But let's keep history alive. I want people 100 years from now to know about Webster Kirksey and Craig Dill and Art Gilo and Anthony Roberson and Jason Richardson and so many of the great ones. And we've written about, I think, almost every one of the great players that I can think of that I've researched all the way back, and all the great coaches and the big storylines and a few controversies along the way, and they're in there too, warts and all. So that's in the book. Any questions? Any more questions?
We definitely have time for questions. So.
Pardon me?
I said we definitely have time for questions. So if you've got any burning questions.
Yes.
Do you have a listing in the book by player's name and what page they're on?
No. I don't.
Easier for us to find.
Yeah, kind of like a yearbook kind of thing, but that it's probably an omission on my part, sorry about that, but no, it wasn't, but it's all chronological. Everything's chronological in the book, and so what we have is each coach, and then each coach kind of talks about their era. Oh gosh, for the basketball fans, you could appreciate some of these eras that we've been through. For example, 2006, 2007, 2008, 3 consecutive state championships for the city of Saginaw. Arthur Hill won it in 2006, Saginaw High won it in 2007, and in 2008. From the same town, and 3 straight years champions in the entire state. The 1940s were an unbelievable decade. Saginaw High won the state tournament, or were runner-up in 1941. They won the state championship in 1942. 1943, there was no state champion because of World War II. The following year, 1944, Arthur Hill won the state championship. So on either side of the year that they didn't have a state championship, Saginaw High won 42, no state championship in 43. Arthur Hill won the state championship in 44. Probably one or the other would have maybe won the championship or been close to it in 43 if they would have had the state tournament. Then in 45, 47, 48, and 49, Arthur Hill was either a state runner-up or in the Final Four. And then in 1952, they lost the state championship by 1 point in Charlie Fowler's first year as the head coach at Arthur Hill. So between 1941 and 1952, I think 9 times semifinals or better by Saginaw High and Arthur Hill, and two state champions in there. So Saginaw dominated the state in the 40s, and they've been doing great things in the 90s, in the 2000s, and both Arthur Hill and Saginaw High have excellent teams this year. So who knows? Maybe one of them will take a run to the state championship game, this year. So anyway. Yes.
When does the school actually open?
The new school will be next September. It's right on the Saginaw River if you've driven by it. And that's a cool thing too, because with the Saginaw River being that borderline, and right on the edge of the Saginaw River, kind of bridging the east side and the west side. And if you go back to some of the controversy of the past, our town was a segregated town for a long time. Arthur Hill was 100% white, and most of the working class and the minorities were on the east side, and there was a line, and it was the color lines were broken in the late 70s and into through the 80s, and now there's crossovers and all of that. But that's a part of our history. That's a part of the historic fabric as well, as it is in most towns. Thank God we're past that. And so that's why I love Saginaw United. This perfect name for a high school. Perfect. Yes.
I think that's why they challenge each other every year, and that's why they won so much. I wonder what they'll do when they get together.
Well, that's a very good question. They challenged each other, but now they get to be all on the same team.
Oh, we got to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, let's see what they do together. And so, I'm hopeful. And I think the city of Saginaw has lost a lot of students out to the townships and other places, just like in many big cities, right? And I think this new school, and it's technologically way up there. I mean, all the computer IT things in it, and I've been hearing all about it. It's going to be state-of-the-art high school. So some of these students that have been going out to the township and different places might start coming back too. And it's kind of a sad thing in a way in many big cities where, I guess they call it the white flight, out of big cities, and or just moving out for different other reasons. I think it would be great to a lot of these students to come back. Any other questions? Yes.
Will you be doing a finding at any time?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Once we get to the finish line of the game and all of that, and we see how many things are sold, I'm gonna have definitely a couple of signing parties and that, or maybe if I can get one or the two high schools where I could meet, or find a perfect location where a couple times I could come in, and if people would want me to sign, I would love to sign your book. Yeah. So.
Well, maybe we'll work something out here too. So. I said maybe we'll work something out here too.
Yeah,
so.
we would love to have you have a book. Yes.
Obviously, we can't come to the game. We need to have you back here again then.
Well, I don't know if I'm invited. I don't know.
Absolutely, we can work.
You're going to have to clap. I got to hear. Give me that.
Okay.
People that work for food. I work for claps, right? Right. Well, I appreciate the audience, and you can help us out in two ways. You can order a book, or you can help underwrite, sponsor to make a donation towards the cause, or have a business that you might frequent. Maybe you could speak to on our behalf, because our hearts are in the right place. We want to, at the end of this journey, have some nice scholarship money to give to the new school, and of course pay for all of our expenses as well. So we need some help, and we would appreciate. There's a couple of book buyers already. You got yours already, right, Jack? Yeah, and I will sign yours for sure, and I will sign anybody's book. Yeah, if you would, if you brought me back and they brought their books.
Yeah, we'll work it out. We'll figure that out.
Okay.
We'll stay in touch and.
Thank you for being such a great audience.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Be safe out there.
If you haven't received a flyer, I'll be on the way out if you want and grab one, or just this tells you how to order. Would you like one of these? All right.